My name is Alin. In the industry, I'm known as ABBA, and I'm going to speak to you today about what is smart contract auditing, what exactly it is, why does it exist, will it exist, is it a bubble or not, and hope you're going to like it. Overview, I'll talk about myself, what is generally smart contract auditing, why does it exist, is it a bubble, as in the temporary, something that will die out alongside blockchain technology, some variations and spin-offs, an example, but only if Miles doesn't beat me by that point because I've talked too much, and then conclusions and QA. So I've worked for like 8 years in normal cybersecurity at Bitdefender, the neighbors from here. And at that point, I started being interested in blockchain. So I started working, at the same time, started working with my colleagues from QAD. And in my part-time, I started doing smart contract auditing. For almost a year now, I've been a full-time blockchain security researcher. Now, you see that I'm in one part I'm saying smart contract auditor and in another blockchain security researcher. This is intentional to confuse you. This industry is so young that they still debate how to call the profession. So some people prefer the more proficient blockchain security researcher. Some people like the old school smart contract auditor, whatever. It's young, I'm using both interchangeably. I have some achievements in this industry because it's young. Something new appeared, some like contests, auditing contests. And over the last year, I've done like 31 contests, won first place for 2 of them, 10th place ranking 7 times, and I've had 17 different private engagements or collaborative. Something either I worked alone at securing a product or I've worked with a team. I want to give you some context because I'm going to use terminology and I expect everyone to know, but that's false. So when you're thinking of blockchains, I want you doing this discussion to think of it as a semi-immutable, paper-write cloud computing environment, because actually that's what it is. You have a program, you deploy it, you pay for each write, not reads, and over it, okay, there's a lot of other particularities, but it's enough to consider it like that. Smart contracts, think of it as programs. By program, I mean if you have a normal application, a desktop application, you have several small executable binaries. Think of smart contract as a program running on blockchain. And the protocol will be the entire application itself, composed of front-end, back-end, blockchain, contract, UI, marketing team, whatever. You're going to need this terminology. First question, what is smart contract auditing? I like it like this. I will not say blockchain security researching. Very, very simple. Someone gives you code. Usually on GitHub, I've had the misfortune of getting a zip archive in my lifetime. And you look for issues. You find issues. Sometimes you need to make a proof of concept to show that this is actually an issue. Here, my friends usually ask me, so you're a tester? No, my friend, I'm a highly paid code reviewer that sometimes needs to do some tests to prove this is an issue. Because you can't really just say it's an issue without proving sometimes. You give the client the fixes, and you need to watch them. They actually do it okay. Several issues are added afterwards. So, dear client, do this. Okay, doing this. You did not do this. 3 more issues. So, that's another part. You take all your issues, fixes, give it in a beautiful report, make it in a beautiful report, and give it to the client. That's literally the gist of it. The simplest form. This is manual auditing. This is doing as one thing. I said at one point you're gonna find issues with the code. But what types of issues? Any type. And I'll give you some examples while also showing severity, because not all issues are equal in the great blockchain. These are informational. People ignore them usually, but I like them. I especially like my second one, English dialect inconsistencies. You should see the faces on the developers when you tell them they're using both British and American initialize Z with an S. Yes, this is informational issues. But you want to be thorough, you say everything. Low severity issues are more, okay, say you have an on-chain game. For some reason, you're allowing to create a round with no players. That will have issues with statistics. Maybe you have a reward system by the amount of rounds, not good. Maybe you have a protocol, a borrowing and lending protocol, in which the interest accrual in documentation, because yes, you need to read, I need to read the documentation if it exists, and actually compare that they're doing what they said, which doesn't really happen. Okay, this is... Okay, so I'm sorry, you're gonna lose a part of the presentation. The medium severity ones are already interpretable. Something like, this is where you reach more auditing like. So the protocol is not standard, is not compliant with standards, with Ethereum request for comments 4.6.6, which is the vault standard. Here you actually go nitpicky. You're not doing this, you're doing this. Integrations with you will fail. Clients will lose money. The other one was slippage. But slippage, if you don't know what slippage, good. Look up on Investopedia, because a lot of things you're going to look up on Investopedia. And see, now this color coding is somewhat standard. And these types of issues, already at high severity issues, if the client doesn't resolve them, it's kind of bad. I mean, not outward malicious, but it's kind of bad. For example, you have a feature that you need to have a reward group for some participants, and you want to remove it, but it actually doesn't work, because why would you implement it correctly? Or a denial of service on staking. Somehow a malicious actor can block a functionality of your protocol. That happens. Even more, the critical severity ones, something like an attacker can drain intentionally, just take the entire amount of funds, tokens, meme coins, Solana, just take them from your protocol. Those are critical ones. And here you even have nuanced one, bad debt cannot be paid. Who here knows what is bad debt? Good. The idea is, these are financial terminology. This is something you need business logic context when you're auditing a protocol. I'm not going to say what it is. General issues, okay, those are some examples. As an auditor, I need to look at each and everything that is known or unknown. Access control, who can call what? A smart contract is different from a normal application, because here, everyone can call your public functions. Literally, your code is an API entry point. Most Web2 developers that come here, they don't realize that, and those are issues. You have issues with compliance, admin centralization, price oracle integration. Price oracle is a source of truth on-chain data, complicating. You have architectural issues. Yes, I need to look for those. Do you need to have your protocol upgradable? Yeah, blockchain is semi-immutable. That's why you also have the possibility of upgrading, rounding, overflow. Blockchain reorgs. No, you need actually to think if you're sorry, I need to hurry, otherwise they beat me. So, Vlad told you about blockchain transactions. In a normal blockchain, you have in a block several transactions, sequential, and blocks are sequential. But did you know that the transactions within the block, the blocks itself can shuffle, the transaction within the block can shuffle or change places. That happens during a blockchain reorganization. Those are rare, but they can mess your protocol. Finality appears after a certain point. These are details, minute details that you need. Cross-chain compatibility, you're gonna launch. There are literally over 1,000 blockchains at this point in life. And if you want to make something that works on all of them, you need to know all of them. So expertise is highly valuable. Why does this exist? When you're thinking of smart contract auditing, you need to take into the consideration 2 points. Blockchain is permissionless. Anyone can deploy anything. No one stops you. Okay, it's going to cost you like $1. Boo-hoo-hoo. But anything can be given a financial value. Even if you make a random collection, and you take pictures of your neighborhood, put it on chain. Okay, if someone actually wants to transact with that, they need to pay gas fees. So this, you already have the question, is this worth enough the monetary value for me to use it, to move it? You're already needing to think in terms of financial value, like it or not. So when I told you that sometimes I look over code that people from Web2 or normal developers come, and they come with this mentality because it actually works in the normal Web2 industry. Move fast, bake things. Sorry for the low quality. But in blockchain, if you move fast and bake things, you bake bad things. You don't move fast and bake things. The simplest example, even the PEMP hack above, they literally, I think they paid around, not $1 million, but a lot of money for securing their protocol, and they then deployed fast an extra contact, which was not audited, and collapsed the entire thing. The complexity in which these are hacked and speed and tooling existing for attackers is very high. Don't move fast and bake things. Move quickly and calculated. Coming back, why does smart contract exist? You need to think of the entire blockchain ecosystem as, besides everything can be financially incentivized, think of a world where you have making cars, manufacturing cars as a service, banks as a service, casinos as a service, brokerage as a service. In these types of environment, imagine if AutoSAR would create Lego type cars. You just need to have your software and they'll just deploy it for like $200. Maybe it will happen, 3D printed cars. You would need software for that. Anyone can make that software, but you as a user, would you use that? Are you certain they're going to make something that you won't literally kill you? You're not. So smart contract auditing will always exist, in my humble opinion, as long as public blockchain technology exists. Because auditing secures, you need it secure because it will always have financial value, like it or not. I know they need to say that it's not a financial tool, just a utility in America for tax seasons. Okay, is this a temporary industry? Let's say that blockchain survives, but this industry, because now there is an industry of simply auditing protocols. I want to grab your attention to software audits that already exist and have existed for years. Even our neighbors, PVC from downstairs, they're doing compliance audits, which are software audits. So the question, do smart contract audits, will smart contract audits die? I'm going to answer with, are the other software audits dead? No, they won't die as long as the underlying technology dies. And everyone knows compliance is hard. So they're going to this is going to exist. Already exists. It's just a subdivision of something that already exists. Examples of industry that somewhat already interacts and communicates with auditing companies. In 2022, JP Morgan's digital asset group, Onyx, they do have one, implemented a protocol in which they imitated a bank, so to speak. And they, of course, contacted an auditing company. Because that's normal. You don't smart contract auditing company, not just a normal one. Recently, like literally last month, a software smart contract auditing firm partnered with PVC Germany branch to collaborate more on this in the future. This will become the norm for blockchain technology, like it or not. And at this point, there are over 100 different just companies that are specialized in smart contract auditing. There are over 10,000 different registered participants in security audits. There are like 5 bounty platforms. It's a lot. This is not going away anytime soon. What I've told you now generally is like looking at code, auditing it, bug report, giving to client. Like any industry that seeks to reach perfect product market fit, There are deviations from the spin-offs. Initially, long time ago, there were the protocol and a simple solo auditor, or independent auditor, how you want to call it. Well, they grouped, formed companies, and at the same time, bug bounties started. These are even in normal software development, such as there's the platform HackerOne, another normal pen testing, classical pen testing, where you get paid to find problems in other people's code, which is nice. Now, because this is relatively a young industry, and at the same time scaling, the idea of how do you scale more than this, because over time, they realize scaling is very hard. It's very hard to do it correctly. So they introduced a new element in this pipeline, audit contests. Audit contests is something very interesting because it's a way of crowdsourcing intelligence. How do you get raw native intelligence? How do you get the basement dweller that never leaves his home and configures the Minecraft server to stop doing that and actually look at a smart contract program to find bugs? Hard. There's an entire discussion of incentives models, how you can do it. I can literally make a presentation only on incentives models. How do you make people do this? Because it's not yet easily automated. And they have tried. They have tried. I can give you an example. This is the somewhat standard pipeline for a good security program for a company, for a protocol. They usually have an in-house auditor or just go at the beginning with a sole auditor. Companies contest, then do a bug bounty. And even then, some get hacked. But those who actually do this well, they kind of survive for a long time. This is one of the most famous, this is how much time-wise a protocol, a very famous protocol called Euler V2, the second version, the borrowing and lending protocol. They started like in October last year, and they deployed this month. And they had, each of these are audit companies, with the exception of Certora, which is a formal verification. We'll go to that. And this is an article they deployed. They said that they paid around $4 million over this entire pipeline to secure the product. Why? This is going to go live. People are going to put money in it. Money will go away if you don't take care of it. Spin-offs. So, like I mentioned, various services appeared. Some of them reached product market fit and survived. Some of them didn't. For example, fuzz testing, it's something relatively new. I don't know if you remember fuzz testing. There was one course in Polytechnica that no one ever took, and how you would do that. Well, I've done it, and it was odd. I was like, so you actually do use this. Formal verification, it's like the playground for researchers because you mathematically prove that this function has no issues. There's a lot of investing done in that direction because it's the closest thing you have to removing humans completely. POC writing, there is some people, when you're writing tests, proof of concept for issues, there's a framework which is written in JavaScript called Hard Hat, which people use for some reason. So other people literally pay other people to do tests for that. This didn't survive for long because I think only like 3 or 4 cases of people actually paying, because you need to trust the guy who does your POC that he is not going to use the knowledge and you deploy it against you. Real-time hack prevention, this is interesting. This is how you deploy and do an action before other bad dudes. Gas audits, coming back that each action is paid. You're going to pay for each ride. There are little people who do you remember 40 years ago when they had to optimize the code in C or use small tricks in assembly? Those types of stuff. I've seen polynomials that I don't know how they got them, just saw it and it's 30, sorry. Not that old, I'm sorry. Classical consulting, IE audits, which currently are not good. Maybe I think IE audits in the future will fix about the informational lows and maybe some mediums. I don't think they will reach the level of this protocol doesn't correctly handle that, which is a very hard concept. Incident response. Most of them have reached product market fit.
How do you do an AI audit?
I don't, but how do people do it? There are products that just, took ChatGPT, took Claude, have a UI, they just fed everything, and people are like, okay, this is the link to the GitHub, find me issues, copy, paste, and then for this a contest especially, you see the judge, spam, junk. Well, sometimes I do use ChatGPT if it's a really complex subject. What does this try to explain me? Right? Just give it a random. Keep in mind, you do audits on all type of technology. In the last year, Rust technology, Rust-based smart contracts. Solana, you write in Rust. Move, which Vlad mentioned, is a dialect of Rust. It's becoming more frequent to see Rust development in this idea. And I was like, okay, I don't know Rust, but I'm paid to do a Rust audit. What does this do? So, okay.
Security content writing?
Yes, security content writing. I have been paid just to write an article security-wise because you know if the person that wrote the article actually knows what he's talking about. And this industry is so young that people are looking for good quality articles. The best is rare skills.
So what's the incentive for the person paying you to write a good article?
PR, because it's the classical marketing. These guys know what they're doing. Look, they have articles. Let's go and talk to them. This is the standard. You don't really, talking about entrepreneurship, you don't really understand the value of writing content until you realize how many clients come, oh, I read your article. You seem like you know what you're doing, so go and do it. Okay, I think we have time. I want to show you an example of what does it actually mean to audit a function. This is going to be quick. Okay, so I'm giving you this example. This is what I've been giving as an auditor. This is an asset-based lending protocol. Again, if you don't know, good, check it on Investopedia. That's the whole point. You won't know. That's the business logic. But basically, borrowing by depositing other assets as collateral, which is basically generic borrow, but in a fancy way, said. And this is a function called set liquidation LVT ratio. Okay. Sometimes I don't get any documentation, so I need to look at this. What's wrong with it? So, first of all, the new LVT ratio, you don't even know what an LVT ratio, I'll tell you, is loan to value ratio. But you need to know this, that's your job as an auditor for this type of DeFi. So, first issue. Can be set over 100. Another thing to remember, most blockchains don't have floating point numbers. They use precision, fixed precision arithmetics. They have like one variable that stores the number of decimals and you use unsigned whatever. So to represent 0.001%, we're using basis points. Basis points is again a terminology from classic finance where 100% means 10,000. So if you want to go to 0.000 point, you just say 1. That way you don't need to do any rounding. So this is a simple issue. You can send it over 100. I'm fixing this. Typos, because it's liquidation, not M, and loan to value. We're setting it. Now, coming back to the Web2 part, when people are like, oh, I'm going to crash this space. No, you won't. Everyone can call this. This is a critical function. The liquidation LTV defines how much of the value of your collateral, what percentage of it is used to evaluate the health of your position. Yes, it's complicated, but it basically means if you set this to 0, you're liquidating everyone. No one should be able to do that, so that's a critical. Okay, that's a modifier. Now, because we are the type of people to be nitpickers by default and we love it, you're not explicitly stating the size. In automotive, you don't just say int, you say underline, unsigned int, underline 32, or rather you need to specify the size. Now, again, this is one even more complicated. In a good DeFi borrow and lending protocol, there is also a borrow LTV. Why do you need a borrow LTV? Because you need to stop people from borrowing and in the same block front-running a transaction that changes the price and then liquidating themselves, taking funds out of the protocol. This is a form of MEV, and you're creating bad debt to the protocol and if extracting funds. So some protocols that I've looked at didn't even implement this. First issue, you need to implement. Second issue, these should be correlated because the liquidation LTV should be higher than the borrow LTV. Okay, continuing. A new one, lack of events. Dear Web2 developer, if you don't have events, off-chain systems won't find your when this is called, so you need to add those. Okay, another one. This is even more complex. I'm just going to skip it. He's attacking me. Okay. Basically, if you reduce it instantly, you instantly liquidate people, so you need to do an off-ramping function to gradually decrease the value. Okay. Now you've come here. No not spec. Okay. This is the final version, and I'm pretty sure there are issues with this one also. But we like this more. It's Gucci. We take all of those issues, compile them in a report, happy client. Conclusion. Smart contract audit, type of software audit, will exist as long as blockchain exists. There's no way no way around it. Field still new, spin-offs will emerge, product market fit not reached yet. How to properly scale for now. I think like I told, IE will probably solve the small ones. Don't never use JavaScript. For now, audits are needed. You're not taking a stamp of approval because you're buying, if you take the worst auditing firms, have a stamp of approval, deploy, and get hacked, you'll lose as a protocol. You actually do want quality, which is odd from some other audits where you just want the stamp. Do not move fast and break these. Move quick and calculated. This is me. I'm also known as Alba. Some references, because I took a lot of pictures. Questions?